Right, hello and welcome to the Self-Employed Dashboard. This is a dashboard for people who are, well, as it says, self-employed. It's not just about business, it looks at various aspects, mostly business, but also some health and that kind of thing within this. So it kind of gives you an overview of what you're achieving and certain things that you may want to be doing as a business owner. Let's just have a look because this is one of the select range spreadsheets, so you don't have to take all of these tabs. So as you can see, any of the black tabs, if you click on the development, the intro and setup is obviously this with the settings, and the green tab being the dark green, our corporate green, there is a dashboard tab which will be included, and any red tabs, the darker red, our corporate red color, this isn't that. There isn't one on the spreadsheet, but there might be a data input tab which is relevant to all the other components, and those will be included. So in this particular spreadsheet, from development all the way across all these different colored tabs to success, those 8 tabs there are the ones that you can choose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just talk you through the fixed tabs, and then I'll afterwards go through one of these at a time so you can decide which ones you want. How the spreadsheet works: it works on a weekly basis. So if you put the starting day where you want the first report, basically. So if I go to the development, this is Friday the 27th of March. So that is the first report. So what I'm saying by putting in this date is I'm saying every Friday I want to put in some figures, and I want to start on Friday the 27th. So technically speaking, I'll then need to start monitoring the information so I can put the right figures in from the previous Monday. So from Monday, whatever it is, Monday the 20th or 21st, whatever, I'll start actually keeping track so that by the Friday, I'm ready to put the figures in. Right, and while we're on the subject of the date, you may notice on the other tabs that this spreadsheet actually only lasts for 1 year. So it goes on for basically 53 weeks, so make sure it's got enough weeks. But it only lasts for a year. That doesn't mean you can only use it for a year, you can use this for life. So what do you do after the year? Well, you've got 2 choices. My suggestion is to keep a blank copy of this anyway, because you might mess up the spreadsheet or something and you may need to recover things. So keep a blank copy of the spreadsheet at all times. But when you come to reusing it, what you can do is you can either open a blank copy and go through and fill in all the headers like I'm about to show you how to do. Or if you want to keep all of your existing headers and you just want to change the data, what you can do is you can actually highlight all the, not the black and the green tab, but all the component tabs. So if you hold down Control and left click, you can actually highlight all of the component tabs and then select the data underneath the red headers. So from row 11 across and all the way down to the bottom of the year. Not right down to the bottom of the page, but down to the last line with the date. Right click and clear contents. And if you do that, then what you're basically doing is you're clearing all of the data out of the spreadsheet, and you're doing it on all of these different tabs, whichever ones you've ordered. And then you've got all your headers in place, and you can then simply come back to intro and setup, change the starting date for the following year, and start another spreadsheet. So what I'd suggest at the end of the year is doing a save as. Save your one for the previous year, do a save as for the next year, come through, do what I just did, clear all the data, put in the next Friday starting date, and boom, you got yourself a new spreadsheet for the new year. Because as I said, you don't want to be collecting 300 years worth of data. So this only shows the 1 year at a time, but you can obviously use it over and over again. So either just start a new spreadsheet or simply clear the data like I just showed you once you've done a save as. So that is for the first week. That's when I'm basically putting in the first lot of results. And then your name, just put your name in. Obviously your company name is locked in here, but put your name in and it'll go onto the report. Let me show you the dashboard as well. The dashboard, as you can see, is a whole bunch of graphs all relating to different information. They're all set out nicely on an A4. So if you save this as a PDF, each report is on each page, and each report relates to each of these tabs. So if you look down the right hand side here, you can see the red line. So that part up to there relates to development, and then as you scroll down, there's yellow, that relates to health, and then financial, and so on and so forth. So just bear in mind, whichever of these components you order, if you have a look at the product page, you'll see that these 8 items here are listed as the different components. So for argument's sake, if you order the development component, you will get this relative section on the report. If you don't order the development tab, you won't get that tab. If you don't order the development component, you won't get the tab, and you won't get this aspect, this page of the report either. So your report will start here with health if you've in fact ordered that component. So yeah, the dashboard will be included, but only the parts of the components that you order and the relative tabs that they go with. So you can see they're all color coded as to what part of the report belongs to which data input. So that's the general idea of the spreadsheet. I'm now going to move on to going through one tab at a time, and when I do so, I'll go through the dashboard with the relevant reports so that you can see which reports go with which component. So let's start with the development component. Right, development, as with most of these components, you can add in type in the names for the headers. So as you can see, I've put in paid courses, free training, studying skills, and so on and so forth. You can input any 5 headers that you want. Just make sure that once you've input the headers, you don't come and change any headers, because if you change them afterwards, it'll change the header. It won't change the data below, and that also goes to this date. Don't change that date after you've actually put it in. So here, whatever you've selected as headers, all you need to do is each week put down how many hours you spent doing those particular activities. So if you put paid courses, for example, free training, when I say free training, I mean something like when you do it at home, maybe just learning yourself without actually paying for it, or whether you're doing studying or skills or practicing or whatever it is that you're doing to develop yourself as a business owner. You can categorize up to 5 categories there. And then all you do each week is just put down how many hours you spend doing each one. Hours as in not, if you do 8.5 hours, it won't be 8.3, or it'll be 8.5. So you're putting it in as a decimal for 8.5 hours would be 8.5. So it's not put in as time, it's put in as hours as a decimal. So if you fill that in, what that does is it then goes to the dashboard, and you can see on a week by week basis how many hours you spent on each, and it's broken down by those different categories that you've put in. So that's for the first half of the year. That's for the second half of the year. That's an overall breakdown, and there you can actually see the figures in a pie chart overall, so you can see of your study time, where or your development time, what is it actually going to, and there are obviously the color codes down there as to what everything pertains to. So that's the report for the development, and that's the tab. So let's move on to the health tab. All right, the health tab, pretty much the same. You put in how many, you can put up to 4 of the headers. As you see, the last header is already there. The last header is locked, it's sick. So what this is what types of activities would you do that you consider beneficial to your health. So it might be exercise. You might want to break down different kinds of exercise. Maybe you want to break down running and gym, or whatever the case might be. If you want to put sleep on there, or rest, or whatever it might be, you can put up to 4 different kinds of activities that you would do that you would consider towards your health. The sickness will show on the graph, but it shows as a line graph, not as a bar graph. So yeah, let's have a look at the report that you'd see from that. What you'd see on the dashboard with the health is obviously all of your different bar graphs showing the different breakdown of the hours spent each week doing each of these different activities. Now your sickness is not showing on here, but it will show a line graph above the bar graph. So this axis here, she's showing sickness. That's showing the number of hours that you're doing all the activities. So these are essentially positive hours, and these will be, let's call them negative hours of actually being ill. But you'll see the line graph will form over that as a red line. So that's the first half of the year. That's the second half of the year. Here you can see your overall breakdown. Your sickness will add on to here at the end, so you can see kind of what proportion of sickness is actually happening compared to your well kind of activities to keep your body working properly. So you'll see the sickness on these graphs as a part of the overall breakdown, but on these graphs you'll see them as a line graph. So that is the health part of the spreadsheet. Let's move on now to financial. All right, the financial tab, once again, you can put in your headers down here, cash, savings, that kind of thing. How this differs to the other ones, a lot of the other tabs, you're putting in the total for the week. So, you know, how many sales you make that week, or how many leads did you get in that week, or you know, what kind of exercise you do that week. Whereas the financial is slightly different. It's more of a what are your closing balances for the week. So for argument's sake, you may have the same £2,000 in every single week if you've just got that £2,000 in savings throughout. But that then on the graph, what we'll see are the lines, instead of seeing drastic changes, we should hopefully see more of a gradual change as your situation improves or dips. So anything else that you want to put in here, they'll all be added together. Cash savings, you can put different kinds of savings, or stocks or shares or whatever else you want to put in there. I really don't mind, but whatever it might be, you can list your different header types, and just bear in mind that it's not what came in that week, but what your balance was at the end of the week. So because of that difference, when we go to the dashboard and we have a look at the financial, what this one does now is it shows you the values each week. So as I said, these shouldn't change just drastically. They should kind of go more gradually, because you'll obviously carry over a lot of it from week to week. But down at the bottom, instead of an overall, this is basically the average. So this takes the average amount over those weeks, as you can see, £4,000 and £4,000, that kind of thing. So what this will do is it doesn't add them all together. It takes the average cash, the average savings, and so on and so forth, as does this over the year. So you'll see your average month kind of come out, your average week, closing balance on an average week come through here, rather than just totaling them all together. All right, let's move on to sales. All right, the sales has got one of these fixed cells in again. You can't change that. That's just the profit and loss. You can put in 4 different categories. Now, what I would personally put in here are a breakdown of the kinds of sales that you're doing. So you may have different kinds of projects that you're selling, or different kinds of products, or whatever it might be that you're selling. So you can actually put in, you can categorize them. You may also want to put in things like, you might have sales that maybe have carried over to the next month, or whatever. If you want to put that in, just be careful obviously what you're putting in as headers, but you can decide what 4 items you want to follow as far as your sales are concerned, and itemize them here, and then that will form these headers. And then simply just fill in the value each week. So every Friday on those dates, fill in the value. So what you're doing is you're doing your sales for that week broken down into categories. What that'll show you on your dashboard is, again, all of your total sales broken down by category each week of the year, so you can be able to see trends and that type of thing, and for the second half of the year. And when you get to the end, you'll be able to see a breakdown of your per category, and obviously an overall breakdown as well in a pie chart with some values there, so you can see how it's broken down. The next one is the leads and clients. Right, the leads and clients one, you can again put in the different kinds of leads and clients, whatever that you've got. Essentially what this is going to do is you're going to be putting down a value to it, and these are going to be, I would suggest, you can decide how you want to do this. You can either put down your total number at the end of each week. What I would suggest doing is only adding the new ones each week, so you can see when the new leads have come in, so you're not having a repetition like you are with the bank balance, the financial one, where you're adding in your balance each week, but actually being able to add in your the the number of clients you earn that week. So all your new clients that week, all your new, I've said clients, leads, prospects, again, you can name what headers you want, but these are essentially what's coming in that week. So you're able to see what new activities happening that week from a point of view of clients, leads, and prospects. So if you do that, you will be able to see on the graph a breakdown, a value of all the new leads / clients, whatever, are coming in each week, and you're able to see which week they're coming in, where the high values are, and where each of the different kinds are more likely to happen in what weeks, those kind of things. So you can see exactly what's been happening. You can also see here an overall breakdown. So at the end of the year, if you're getting a whole lot of leads, that and few clients obviously means those leads aren't converting, that kind of thing. So you can see what's actually happening at the end of the year. I mean, I've just put the same value in for all of these, but essentially what you'll be hoping is that a lot of the leads are actually developing into clients. So you can see what this graph looks down, a breakdown at the end of the year, each week, putting in the different values. All right, let's move on to the emails and tasks. Right, the emails and tasks, this is really just the how busy are you, how much stuff do you have on the go each time. So you could add things like meetings and all that type of thing onto this list. But what it does is, how many emails have you got in your inbox? How many tasks do you have on your task on your to-do list, if you've got such a thing? All those kind of things, any kind of things that you can go, well, I've got 7 things to do, I've got 2 meetings to go to, I've got 4 emails to address, or whatever the case might be. Put those values in each Friday, because then what it does is you can see when you're busy, you can see if the lines are going down, that you're actually dealing with those things and getting them done. If the lines are going up, then what it means is that you've got more and more and more tasks and emails, the things are building up, and you're not being as productive and getting as many things off your plate as what you would like to be doing. So again, they just add all of those up together, so you can input the header names here to determine what headers they are, and then each week just put in how many active tasks, emails, whatever else you've got, and that will show here. So you can be able to see if this line's dropping down, it means you're getting stuff done. If those lines are going up, it means you're accumulating more stuff to do. Right, your email and tasks is similar to the financial tab, where it takes your totals at the end of each week. So you can put in some header names over here. You can type in the header names, which will put the headers in on top of each column, and then just put how many each week. So your emails and tasks, these are things that you need to do. So essentially what this is looking at is, if you've got 10 emails at the end of last week, 12 emails at the end of this week, 25 emails in your inbox at the end of the following week, 40 the next week, 45 the following week, what that's telling you is your workload is increasing and increasing and increasing, and you're not getting through what you ought to be getting through. So things like emails, tasks, you've got a to-do list, whatever else where you've got a pool of things that need to be done that you want to check at the end of each week. But again, you're not putting in new ones here, you're putting your actual balance. So in theory, these same 25 tasks could go throughout all the different weeks if they're not addressed. So having said that, when you go to the dashboard and you have a look at your tasks, emails and where is it here? It's the next one down, your emails and tasks. What this does is not only will it show you your weekly lines, so they shouldn't be changing too drastically. It's not like you get 0 in one week and 20 the next week. These things should change more gradually as you add to them or take away. That's the first half of the year and the second half of the year. But this one down here, instead of totaling it up like some of the other ones do, what this one does is it takes the average over the year. So you can see the average number of emails you had at the end of each week and the average number of tasks at the end of each week, that kind of thing. And this also takes the average rather than the total, because obviously we don't want to recount the same email every single week if it's just sitting in your inbox. So that will take the average. All right, let's move on to time breakdown. Right, time breakdown. What this is, very simply put, is where is your time going? What are you spending your time on each week? So, clients, meetings, marketing, improvement, whatever else it is. You can put your header names here. That will determine the headers. And then every Friday, just put in how much time you've spent on each of those different things for the previous week. Some of you may think, well, I don't know that, but actually this will help you to remember to get that. So if you've put in those different header names, make sure you actually collect that information and check how much time am I actually spending on meetings and marketing improvement and what else. As I said, you determine the headers. And all this does is it adds up, it adds them all up, puts them in a breakdown so you can see week by week by week what your time's actually been spent on. At the end, you can see an overall breakdown of where your time's going throughout the year and what you're actually spending your time on. And then you can see if that is what's actually important to your business in order to make the right changes. Next, let's have a look at the Success tab. Right, the Success tab is slightly different. What the Success tab does is, again, you can put in the headers that you want and the headers here, but all you do is each week you give a percentage out of 100 as to how successful you think you've been at each of the criteria that you've set. So this isn't necessarily monitoring the numbers because the numbers showing what's actually happened. This is more a line of what do you perceive as being a success? How's it looking in your head? So for argument's sake, I've just put client networking, closing, meetings. You can put whatever you want here. How do you feel about client-facing meetings, or how do you feel about networking, or whatever? If you put networking as a category, for example, that week, how do you think your networking went? Do you think you were successful at it? Do you think it was a waste of time? Whatever the case might be. Because if you keep putting in 20%, 20%, 20%, eventually you're going to have a look and go, actually, should I maybe not be doing that kind of activity, or is there something I can change about it, that type of thing. So really you just want to put in how you perceive your success at each of those different whatever the different headers are that you've selected, that you've put in here, and each week just put in that value. Because then what the dashboard does is it'll add them all together. So yeah, it doesn't actually add them together as in the percentage, but what it does is it then gives you that total score as 100%. So you can see that week I had looks like about 63% success rate for that first week, and it's broken down as to which ones were the dominant successes. And then if you go down to the that's for the first half of the year, each week it will show you. That's for the second part, again out of 100%. And if you go and have a look here, you can see a breakdown. So that would be 100% would be a greater, but that's your overall breakdown. And here you can see the white section is the bit that you've got as improvement. So there are the things that you're seeing as successful in your business, but ideally you'd like to get to a complete circle here. So that's where you've still got some room for growth as far as you're concerned about what you see as successful. So that's it. Let's just do a very quick recap of this spreadsheet. Intro and setup. Starting date, that's your starting date, the first time you'll fill the report in from the previous week. Then obviously whichever tabs you've got, we go through each of the tabs, whichever ones you've selected. All of them are pretty similar. You fill in the different headers that you want to do, and then fill in the times or values or whatever it is that you need to fill in each week based on the headers that you've selected. And as you do that, it'll populate each of these pages in the dashboard depending on which tabs you've ordered, and you will be able to see all of these reports populate on a weekly basis based on what you filled in on the individual tabs. So I hope that that's helpful to you. I hope that you now understand what the tabs are about, so you can go and select the tabs that you actually want. And yeah, I hope that really helps you to understand what's happening with you and your business, and to help you to get on top of what it is that you're doing. Thank you very much, and goodbye.